Beautiful. Happy Thursday to everybody. Welcome to the GoDaddy Small Business Community Meetups. We like to do these because this is just an amazing conversation and dialogue that takes place weekly with people that are visionaries, entrepreneurs, advisors, and advocates, people that are figuring out ways to pivot, evolve, adapt, and adopt new things. And as we share these, we want people to be able to listen and leverage, right? We want them to be able to grow and enable that growth through stories, and stories are impactful. And so I am so privileged to be able to be your moderator. My name is Adam Griggs with CLARAfi, and I am here in partnership with GoDaddy to kind of bring you these weekly meetings and the community members that are here today. So we definitely appreciate you. I want to have Rachel introduce herself first, and then we'll introduce Casey and go from there.
Sounds good. Hey, thanks, Adam. Our amazing moderator. I'm Rachel McCool from GoDaddy. I manage community experiences for the company, and the LinkedIn group that we have is part of my management. And I just, this is why I do what I do, is connecting. First of all, getting to meet all of you and hear your stories. I'm inspired every single day. And also really help you to connect with each other. That's really very, very important for businesses to get to know each other, to learn from each other, and everybody has their specialness. So it's really cool to just have people share what they know and also be open for learning new things. So thanks for being here, and again, Casey, looking forward to getting to know you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Rachel, for that intro. And we're appreciative of everything that you've done in the community and the community members that are here today. Just to avoid some feedback, I'll just give them some shout outs. We've got Chris Costanis with Surf Financial Brokers out of Myrtle Beach. So he's over there in paradise, enjoying joining us today. And then we've got Michelle with AJM Financial from Atlanta. And she is just fantastic and a great voice in the community. So you guys should definitely follow and connect with her. And then Patrick Kagan with PK List Services. If you're looking for inspiration and just tangible visual brand building and engaging thought, he's a guy you should follow too. So thank you to those community members that are joining today, and to all of you that are going to listen to this afterwards. Thank you for participating and uplifting the community, because without you, we wouldn't be a community. So I just wanted to put out that thanks before we got started. Casey, I would love for you to give us a little bit of an introduction into who you are, your background. You said you're lucky and stubborn, which I think is kind of a good set for your story, because I think it's more than that, to be completely honest. I think positivity leads to possibility, and you are a very positive guy. So Casey, why don't you tell us about your story and your transition through COVID?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. First of all, thanks for having me on here and allowing me to participate. Back to what you said, something you said when you were introducing, you were talking about, Adam, how some people, when people come together and they're being entrepreneurs, they're being creators, they're solving problems. The reason why I'm grateful to have that opportunity to share this story is because I was fearful in none of those things. And all those years talking to thousands and thousands of customers, all with the nerve that I never had. And so COVID, really what it did was it was the nudge that I needed. And my story is my story, and I lucky is because of the outlying like crazy circumstances that have come together over the last year. But when I lost my job and I was trying to figure out what to do, and there's COVID hitting and there's thousands of people unemployed, and my friend said to me, he said, remember who you are, right? And to me, that was the piece where, and you on the show and the imposter syndrome stuff comes up, like all those years I wanted to become, and I was just too afraid. So for me, the blessing in disguise that COVID ended up being was the nudge that I needed to go out and try and figure out what I could do on my own. And that's really just how it began. And through conversations over time, yesterday I went to lunch with somebody and they were like, it just takes one deal. And that's how it started. I spent 15 years working for a company, great learning experience the whole time. And then in 2018, I went and left, and I went and worked for a friend of mine, and based out of Phoenix. And because it was a small operation, I got to have proximity to the bigger picture of things that are always going on in terms of running a business and being an entrepreneur, because I was in the next room from the person that had been an entrepreneur all those years while I was working at a job, right, or for other people. And best year of 20, one of my best friends for 20 plus years says to me, dude, I can't keep you around. Like, you're doing sales and you're doing account management, and accountants aren't paying their bills and nobody's buying anything because everyone's freaking out, right? So he had let me go, and then there I was, and I was like, what am I going to do? There's thousands of people in line for unemployment, and well, I got a referral, and that was my one deal. It started off one deal, and it was from there. When I got the deal, I'll share this. But when I got the deal, I didn't even have my business yet. So Can Do, Can Teach is the name of the company. I've had the name for a while now, and I've been thinking, fearfully, secretly in myself, this private little entrepreneur wanting to be an entrepreneur, but afraid to do it. And finally I was pushed out there, and then in my inbox, and I think you said you've been doing the show for about a year now, right? So it was about a year ago myself, I got a message in my inbox. It was a referral. And so that's when it started. I went out, I got my LLC, I got the bank account opened up, because I figured by the time this project is halfway done, or by the time I send the first invoice, I'll worry about being a legitimate business by then. So anyway, that's what happened. I started off, and then I started having a couple of clients coming in, referrals, and then the really big thing happened to me. Sorry, my battery's on. As a result of me now, I was a business, right? And I remembered how it feels. You're lost, you're hopeless, and here we are, compounded by headlines of you'll never get a job again, everything's shut down, the whole world's crazy. And yet here I was with hundreds of people in the same situation. And we set up a Facebook group, me and another coworker, we set up a Facebook group. We brought everyone together, and really that was the piece that attracted the attention that group had garnered, and ended up getting jobs for over 300 people. And the point was that, we set up a group to help people with no intentions of charging anybody any money that was in a position where they were unemployed, scared, and trying to get their head straight and bring them together and remind them of who they were. And I think that was the piece where I think that's where it really started to happen. Within 5 days, the energy was crazy. There was over 800 people in this group all working together. The energy was palpable, and the notifications were flying off the handle, and telling you all the activity, right? Always, like, there's constant activity in there. And since then, I've been, man, just yesterday, I drove across the state to a furniture place to buy furniture for the building that I've been renting this office in. I've come to the place now full circle as a result of those projects that I had last year. I was able to invest in a whole concept for a building and office spaces, and so it's still part of the small business community. There's more to the story, but I'll pause for a second there.
I love it. I mean, you think about the position that people were in last year, and
Yeah.
it was a crazy storm, and everybody was in different environments, in different boats, right? And
Yep.
one of the things I've heard you say is you're in the midst of your own emerging miracle, and just watching it kind of unfold over the last 12 months for you has just been fantastic, because you were one of the many that were laid off. You were one of the many that had to bet on yourself. And you said that countless times, you have to bet on yourself. And I love your shares, because you're not alone. I mean, none of us are alone truly, but you're not alone in that position of, if I can't find employment, if I can't find a way to feed my family and take care of my needs, what else am I going to do? And instead of backing down in fear, you went into business for yourself. Aside from that, I think one of the big things that comes up for me is the definition of luck, right? Definition of luck is preparation meeting possibility.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Or opportunity. And you've gone from being unemployed to buying a building, right? In 12 months, which is like a Cinderella story. And it all came
Yeah.
from leading with contribution and having a group of people that you wanted to really help. And I just love that. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you embraced a community where you were having people leading through contribution first and the business would follow second.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, you know, at some point, and this was not calculated by any means, but I've heard along the way, like, it's the company you keep kind of a thing. And like in the sense of community, as we're talking about today, um, you know, when what happened last year to the country, right? Story. This is a country story, right? Or global story. When people had to face what they had to face, um, the one thing I think I remembered and what really inspired me the most was, despite the individual challenges and the circumstances that everybody was facing, the one thing that you could not extract from these folks, and that they still were, even though it wasn't facilitated by a company or a paycheck or a building, was that they were still a team. And tapping into that and being a team member, meaning you put your team members first, because you know that as a result, they're going to have your back. And I didn't do anything that we hadn't been doing, that I hadn't been doing for the last 17, 18 years and working with those hundreds of people in my story, right? So that's the piece where, and it's like we spend more time at work than any other place in our lives. We spend more time doing our jobs, doing more than any other activity in our life. So when that much of our time is spent and committed to a group of people, you don't just unplug that, right? It's like, it doesn't just turn off the light switch and that connection is gone. It is still there. And I think that was for me, what I saw most clearly was that presence, or that energy, however you like to describe it, being so palpable and present the entire time. And that's what was, I think what people were able to feel and be inspired by and really tap into, was that the notion of betting on yourself. Man, where I am today and why I'm lucky and stubborn and the whole thing is, again, I didn't push myself. You know what I mean? Like, circumstances made the choice for me. But what I had been learning from my team over the years, and the company I had been keeping over the years, was that if I reach out and work with the people around me, they're going to have my back too. And that lesson played out in the most unique set of circumstances that I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine the fact that I am setting up everything that I'm setting up today. And like you said, when I reached out to you about this, I was standing in front of the bank, closing on the deal for this building, like completely insane. And I've said to myself, well, I got to keep, even in my current business model and the model for the building here, it's going to still maintain, yes, it's going to be office suites, but I still want to have it be something where this, like a small business membership thing, so people they don't have to have, like, the micro businesses. I read the article from Manan yesterday, and talking about, like, you don't need to have an office space, you don't need to do all these things. And so the membership that I'm doing is, I'm betting on that community. I'm betting on you watching this right now, right? I just, like, I bet on myself, because get out there and just, what's that, do it, with the actor's name who does the
Yeah.
thank you, yeah, Shalabo. But if you asked me, I wouldn't have been capable of doing any of the things that have transpired over the last 12 months. That's a fact. I do not think that I would have ever said I had it in me, but I was pushed into it, and the training took over. Right? Years of keeping good company, and being a member of a team, and being a member of a community type workforce, and being a member of, that was my work family for many, many years, and they still are. And
Yeah.
it's like emotionally overwhelming how I could possibly be in the situation that I am. But
Hey, that's the definition of luck, right? You say you
yeah,
didn't think you could do it, but you had no choice. And I love that. And
yeah,
I love the theme. We've been talking about community a lot. And one of the questions I asked was, what is your definition of community? You know, being it your friends or your colleagues or the people that are in your neighborhood or even your city and town. So I'd like to kind of dial that back into your business as it stands now. Talk to us
yeah,
about what you do and how you are impacting your town, because obviously you've put an investment into purchasing a building, creating a micro center, and you want to enable and
hmm
empower local entrepreneurs. Talk to us about your business as it stands now moving forward.
yeah, sure, it'd be great. So it's Can Do, Can Teach, Hearts and Seats. Can Do, Can Teach is the consulting firm for contact centers, you know, and it's not just me, it's me and the people that I've worked with throughout the years. So it's like, you know, I remember they've written about us in college books, you know, like what the company had accomplished, right? Well, I was raised in that, and then so are my peers. So if someone's looking to expand a contact center piece to their business or redesign it, rethink it, whatever, all things call center, that's where I come in. Can Do, Can Teach. And then Hearts and Seats is the boutique recruiting piece of it. So I can build you a team and help you with that, and then I can help staff it as well. And a lot of it was inspired by what happened last year. One of the biggest things that I learned in that group that we put together, you know, when people are laid off or they quit or whatever, it's like they need to have a transition path to the next opportunity, right? And so the thought was, you know, people really everyone's asking for help with their resumes. Everyone's asking for help with their job interview, like how to prepare for that. Everyone's looking for a little bit of guidance and a little nudge for the next step, whatever that is for them, right, in their own stories. And so an example played out. A local company here in Cedar Rapids, Toyota Financial Services, actually announced in the paper that they were going to be closing a location here, over 600 people. Now, having had already gone through the mechanics of what I did, I activated the same exact thing. Now, I didn't know any of these people, but a handful that, because I live in Cedar Rapids, I know some folks that work at that office, but there was over 600 people. So now I've been able to set up a group on Facebook and in LinkedIn with, between both groups, about 550 people total. Same thing, coming together. We have contributors, right? And that's the thing. It's like there's people that have nothing to do with these other people, but they see that they're in need, and it's how we learned to be. And so now the same thing is happening. I put this group together and I've opened it up for everyone, because the point is I can't have 600 people not have a job in my town. It's as simple as that. I want to talk about my stubborn, right? So this group is there. I've opened it up for everybody. If anybody wants to come in and help find these people jobs or take action proactively to help employ them, great. In the meantime, I'm shopping around to my large clients, and they're looking at investing in Cedar Rapids. That these large companies have made a presence here in the Midwest because they understand the value. And today with the staffing challenges being what it is, there's a lot of stuff going on. So the nutshell answer is call it contact center consulting and then boutique recruiting. And if you don't want to hire the people, I've partnered with a few BPOs as well, so I can also bring in those resources. So it's been a lot of fun having. So this is the thing too. You don't realize how experienced you are until you step back for a few minutes and someone asks you for help, and you're like, and when you can respond second nature to something that is clearly baffling them just because of where you've been. I don't say I'm particularly smart or anything. I've been around a little bit, and these are the things I've learned about. So that's a piece where over the last year, in addition to the luck that I've had, now this network of mine that I've built up over this year, this community, I'm getting messages. I can barely keep up with what's happening. So it's like, it has been incredible It's been a beautiful opportunity because I get to also work with people that I've worked with my whole career in a good consultative fashion, but still bring them to the table for conversations. I didn't realize how much I missed working with some of these folks. But I think that my story is, it's a miracle. I can't even wrap my head around it. It is completely insane. But at the same time, you know, everything that I'm doing is just observation. I'm looking around and I'm seeing, hey, what can I solve, right? And find the helpers, well, Mr. Rogers, find the helpers.
Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers. I pulled a Mr. Rogers quote into this call, so it's better.
No, I appreciate that. Oftentimes problems are opportunities just disguised as obstacles, right? And
Correct.
one of the things that you've done is contribution leadership, and that's either in your community or you know, working with this group and just putting people back into a position to know how to start, staff, and sustain. You have that on your webpage that you start, staff,
Yeah.
and sustain, because it's not about just getting them started. It's about keeping them going
Right.
towards a, not just a mission to build something that's critical, especially for your community, but to sustain your vision, right? You're building a brand, they're building a brand, everybody's got
Right.
their reasons. So I appreciate that. And I love that. I want to be considerate of everybody's time here, but I'd love to kind of open it up for comments and kudos if you're okay with that, Casey.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in and just say, networking is so important, and it's really interesting. I had somebody who I used to work with literally about 10 years ago ping me yesterday about something that happened with her, and I haven't talked to her in a long time. And she said, you know, Rachel, one of the things that I remember you telling me a long time ago was the importance of getting together with people for coffee and just checking in with people and seeing how they're doing. And it was funny. I was like, I don't remember that conversation at all. But, you know, again, it was great to hear, because I think that is, again, so important for opportunities that might be available, and just sometimes circumstances of just right time, right place, right conversation, right? And so, like, how impactful that can be. So Casey, that's really great that you're capitalizing on, your network and just meeting new people and expanding, your horizons for connecting the dots for people. So that's really cool.
Thank you. I've been blessed with a lot of those conversations. A lot of times those things have been said to me, like, wow, and guess what? Years later, that's the stuff that whispers in your ear,
Yeah, it's often the experience that we didn't know we were garnering is the success we're having in the future. So I love that. Does anybody else want to offer any comments or kudos before we kind of close this one out?
I'm just happy to be here to hear that story and be a part of this community. And I'm serious, it was really inspiring, especially when he said he could not have 600 people in his town not working. I mean, I was trying not to cry, so, it was really touching, and I admire you for that. I really do.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think we can all kind of look back on the history of our communities. There's always ebbs and flows, but the moments that matter is when leaders are found, and usually they're found in contribution, like somebody that's leading through building with purpose and contribution first. And after that, the good karma follows. And I think that's just such a fantastic share. And I think that's really what your story embodies, Casey. So I appreciate you sharing with us today. I would love to point people towards your LinkedIn and your website. Is there a place we can send people if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, sure. Just it's Casey Runs. So LinkedIn is LinkedIn/Casey Runs. That's for me. And then the business is Can Do Can Teach LLC. And then the website is candocanteach.com, just like it sounds, Can Do Can Teach.
That's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you just for being who you are and sharing your story, and then just letting us kind of feel aligned with you, because so many of us are still getting over the troubles of yesteryear and moving into a positive possibility of the future. So thank you for joining us today. And thank you to the members that were here today. We appreciate you. And you guys have a fantastic rest of the week and weekend.
Thanks so much. Have a good day, you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.